Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Section 214 of BC Alliance podcast. I'm the host, Ascent, with my friends Hammer and JS. Unfortunately, Simba can't be with us here for this game again because he was watching the Stanley Cup Final Game 6, and that's an unfortunate result
Yeah.
for us Oilers haters.
Some of us were watching too, but we had our eyes on the Lions game mostly, and that was more
Yeah.
fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did my best to well, I mean, I 99% of the time, like I did my best to like try to stave myself off of the hockey game, 'cause just to be completely focused on the football game and not be spoiled by the results. But yeah, unfortunately, Hammer like unintentionally kind of just
Yeah, I feel
spoiled it
bad
for
about
me, but
that.
yeah, for the vibes and the Canucks Discord server where I got the feeling that, oh God, the Oilers won, didn't they? And no, it wasn't. It was just something else entirely. But yeah,
It's what it is.
uh,
Mhm.
yeah. So um, before we get into the game, our gut check, as I'm gonna call it now, uh, and the stats and everything else, we're gonna briefly talk about an update to the chipped balls controversy between the kickers and the league brass. Um, it's it's so wild that the CFL makes the change to have it optional to have chipped balls in play for kicking or playing with it or not, and then it comes out a few hours before today's game that a, a lot of the kickers that were involved in speaking out, especially Cairo Santos of the Bombers and infuriatingly Sean White, and they got
Yeah,
fined for speaking out about it before the change happened, right? And these fines come out after the change happened, right? And just way after the complaints, right? So it was like, what sense does that make, right?
I feel
Makes
And
like
I
no
say,
sense at all.
yeah,
the
and I
league's
say
lost it
that,
here.
yeah, and I say that Sean White was bafflingly fined because all we did was reply to Santos' tweet about the ball, and he just said one word, agreed, and that's what gets you fined.
That's just completely ridiculous that the league they make the change and then they fine people for criticizing them. That's not going to
Before the
endear
fact, yeah.
yourself to the players union, and it's just absurd. The balls controversy was absurd. They were right. The kickers were right to criticize the league, and it's crazy that the league fined them. That's all. I think that's all we really have to say about that. I think we're in agreement about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same
a
take as
lot
you.
of yeah, and I imagine a lot of the fans will also agree that yeah, these fines are just ridiculous and just Randy, you're not on a good foot here so far. I mean,
Nope,
We
Randy
thought they made the right
Ambrosi.
move to begin the year. They made the change, and then look what they did now. So it's not good for their image.
not at all.
Because we were all happy
Well,
with the change they made. All the kickers were happy, and now they fine them. So
I mean, it's funny because I mean, during the course of the game, I mean, both Sean White and Santos, the main, what we're talking about, they both had great kicking games, just despite seemingly despite the CFL. But yeah,
yeah,
well,
It is what it
um,
is.
two
yeah.
very good kickers.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, well, I'm also going to talk about a little bit about yesterday's game where Montreal blew the absolute doors off of Ottawa by scoring 47 points on them. Uh, um,
47 to 21 and a 30 to 1 halftime lead for the
yeah,
Montreal Alouettes, which is just unreal. So I think we have to
The
say
nuts, and
Montreal's the
yeah,
real deal.
they're legit.
I thought it was a bit
yeah,
of a fluke last year when they won the Grey Cup. It's not a fluke. This is a real deal. They're legit.
yeah.
I'm worried about them.
One person that said they are a fluke is Salty Red Blacks fans and the Senators Discord server. I mean, one of them called Montreal super overrated, and I pretty much said to myself, I mean, I didn't reply to him about that, but I said, I don't know. I think that's a salt talking, man. I mean, I disagree. I'm
Yeah.
circling my birthday game because that's when we're gonna be playing. We're gonna be playing them on September the 6th. So
Okay.
a win
What,
sure
Stay
would be
tuned
nice
for that
though.
one.
what do we call
Yeah.
that game? 4-course meal game.
That's a
Absolutely.
4-course meal game, and this win is a 4-course meal win.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I'll also explain that too. Like the 4-course meal win is what I would call kind of like a big win for our team, right? Compared to beating up on the worse off teams, right? And I mean, even though the Bombers are objectively they're a worse off team now with an 0-3 start, I still consider, we're still considering it a 4-course meal win because they're very, coming into this game, they're very desperate for a win, right? And we were worried that they're gonna find their groove by beating us again, right? But yeah, thankfully,
We've been
doesn't
through a lot
happen.
against them in the last couple of years, and just beating them feels like a 4-course meal, even if they're 0-3 now.
Even if it
It's still
wasn't the
early in the
blowout,
season.
even if it wasn't the blowout we saw last year in week 3, I think the Lions won 30-6 or something last year
Yeah,
in Winnipeg in
Oh
week
yeah.
3, so right around this time. It's not a blowout this year, but we got the job done, so
it should have
I'm
been a
feeling good,
blowout, really. It should have been a blowout and multiple opportunities in the first half, but
which we'll
yeah.
get into that later on with our game recap. But yeah, so many
Yeah.
chances to
Yeah.
bury them early, couldn't get it done, but ultimately they did hang on for the win, so we're happy about that.
For now, we're 2 games up on Winnipeg, and it's still early in the season. Who knows if they can catch up or not? They still have a very good team, so it's an advantage we'll be holding on to right now. It's pretty good.
Absolutely, especially getting the win on the road too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have to climb up a mountain now just to get back to 500 and
Oh yeah.
reinstitute the fear in us. But right now, like this is basically our putting the stake into the vampire's heart moment early, right? Just
But
we're
as
starting to do that, right? And we're gonna put the hammer down on them, we hope,
but as
later
we
on.
as
But
we know, an 0-3 start does not guarantee anything. You can start 0-3 and still win the Grey Cup.
Start 1-5 and win the Grey Cup.
You can start 0-5, exactly.
1-6 and win
One
the
and
Yep.
Grey Cup.
win the Grey Cup. So you can start 0-3 in the Stanley Cup final and be facing a game 7 on
Oh
Monday.
no.
So the point being, Winnipeg's in a tough spot, but they're by no means out of it, and anybody who counts them out is a fool.
The full, yeah, we're not counting them out either. I mean, they can absolutely come back to us and do the same thing that they did to us last year. But for right now, for today, we're very happy about this result. We're glad that we're up there with Saskatchewan in the league standings now at 2 wins.
Yep.
Although their game is coming up. I believe it's tomorrow. Yeah,
Against the Argonauts.
the Argonauts. Yeah. I mean.
Mm.
The theme for the Lions game, these first 3 games they've been tight ones like the whole time, right? And again,
Honestly, if we
I
lost this, it would felt like the Toronto game because it was kind of trending towards that. But then we finally got the job done in the end. Pretty clutch plays, but the defense and also some big plays on offense, like Hollins' catch in the end. So
Happy
yeah,
result
it's
overall.
yeah. I mean, again, we still haven't seen. Well, I mean, yeah, they had a 20-7 lead, right? And they had another mini collapse, and then you were thinking, oh, here we go again, right? It's just yeah, it was. We thought it was going to be touchdowns that were going to end it, but no, it just ended up being like back and forth field goals, and then we were the ones that scored last. But
Hey,
yeah,
we'll
I
take
mean,
it.
to end off the gut check, I mean, it's again absolutely massive victory for us. It's a revenge game for us, right? It's that's always nice. That's
obviously,
Nothing at all to complain about.
mm,
Well, I mean, there's stuff to complain about in the game, but the fact that we won, we're not going to complain about that.
no, and we're gonna segue into talking about the statistics for the game, just to really dive deep into some of our team MVPs. Spoiler alert, it's on the offense, but
should we get going here? BC
Let's
statistics.
do it.
yeah. Do we want to I mean, for the past 2 times I've been doing the BC stats, I mean, I think you guys can
I can do it
talk
today.
about the BC stats. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'll do the offense. I'll split up on defense if you want, Jacob.
Sure, sounds good.
To start off, our main man, Vernon Adams Jr., he went 21 for 33, 398 yards with 2 touchdowns.
Almost 400 yards.
Almost 400, crazy. 12.1 average per catch, 24 rushing yards on 5 carries.
That's just fabulous.
And the average per catch can be really highlighted by the fact he made some really deep throws to Holland's particular.
On second down plenty of times, right?
Yes.
Just second and long, right?
Before the second down, stand back, 16 carries for 83 yards. I think he played a great game. He had numerous carries for 9+ yards, especially the one to end the game. He had like 10 yards or something, or at least 10 yards all the way to the 1-yard line. Then we took a knee to end the game without taking a touchdown. But he played great today. He's proven it like he did last year in the Grey Cup against Winnipeg. Receivers, Hollins. What can we say about him?
Yeah.
7 catches on 8 targets for 215 yards with 2 touchdowns, a 30.7 average with his longest catch, 71 yards. And if I'm not mistaken, that was a touchdown in the first half.
We found our Bonham.
Oh, we found our Burnham. Man,
We found him.
It feels
Yeah,
good
we
to
found
have
no
that
replacement, yeah.
reliable guy back. It's not
I
Brian
feel
Brennan.
like-
We miss him. Please come back. Come out of retirement, please. We miss you.
Yeah, and Hammer, you put it in our group chat that you know we've been blessed with elite receivers. I mean, even with Keon Hatcher and Katoy out, like Hollins and and then
Katoy too,
McInnes. Yeah, Hollins and McInnes, and yeah, everyone. Well, for the most part, the receiver core is good. I mean, we'll get into someone that didn't have the juice, but
but I think
I still have faith he'll break out. Right,
it's been a topic of discussion for the last couple of weeks because I was thinking, like, what are we gonna do? We lost Rhymes, we lost Hatcher, we lost Whitehead as well. But it's been great so far. Hollins is his guy. He's the guy this year. He's been getting a lot of targets. And the second guy in charge, McInnes, 6 catches on 10 targets today. I think he played a very solid game, 95 yards, an average of 15.8, and he's really solid in the middle of the field. I think you guys will all agree with us. Our guy, Aiden Eberhardt, no catches on no targets.
I was hoping he would get the.
That was
I was hoping
so
he would
unfortunate to see.
continue. Yeah,
to see
I
him
was
not
hoping he would get
targeted.
like the one clutch catch. Just the one clutch catch in the game for massive yardage, but didn't have no targets, no catches, just absolutely nothing. It was just like running on the field.
Clutch 27-yard catch against Toronto, and then a clutch at least 45-yard catch against Calgary, and those are hugely impactful. But Aberfar, he'll have his moments for the rest of the year. I'm confident he's showed well. He's given us confidence.
Oh yeah, I think when we're going to be playing against Edmonton next week, I got a feeling that he's going to break out there for more than one catch. Right, just give him a look.
Moving on, Fulgham, 3 catches on 8 targets for 33 yards, averaging 11 yards, and a fumble. He didn't play the best of games today. And there's one play where he just got miscommunicated with Adams. I think he was looking or stepped in the wrong direction, led to a drop, and
He missed multiple big
2nd and 10.
ones today.
Yeah, there
Unfortunately.
were a few of those incompletions where just the receivers were running the wrong routes, or just Adams kind of just threw it in the wrong spot, right? But I mean, that's kind of just nitpicking. I'm sure Rick Campbell and the offensive and Jordan McSimic will probably go over that in the film and just go like, hey, I mean, road games are tough, right? It's hard to coordinate in the crowd noise, but I mean, yeah, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, just a
That's-
tough game.
Yeah.
And the fumble was tough, but it's good the defense was able to ice it there before the half ended. On our last receiver, Barry Hill, 4
Making his
catches.
debut. Yeah.
Yep, 4 catches on 5 targets for 42 yards with an average of 10.5. And I was at the preseason game, and I thought he played a very good preseason game. So he's a really nice depth option if we're going to need him this year.
Yeah, with Katoy being out with an injury, I mean, yeah, he did step up when he had to, right?
They signed him out of like NFL camp or something. But I think he's going to be a good impact player this year.
Mhm.
That's it for the offense.
I'll go over the defense. There wasn't a lot of standout plays really from the defense. They just, did played a solid game. Only got 1 sack. They didn't have any interceptions or fumbles or turnovers on downs. Maybe a few 3rd-and-1 sneaks. They were close, but ultimately they didn't make the plays. With Gary Peters with 9 tackles, Josh Woods 8 tackles. It's pretty good. Among the linebackers, Robertson had 5 tackles and a sack. Fladdock, is that how we say it? Had 5 tackles. And then
He almost got hurt.
he did.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary.
Yeah, during the course of the game, yeah, there were and Adams also was walking on a limp in the first quarter. So there were
Oh yeah.
there were a few really nervous moments for us where they were playing hard and well, a big time players were hurt and we're going, oh my God, please no.
I pointed out during the game, but Hladic is an important player to us. He's from UBC, so I like him. So
Yep.
There you go.
do not want to lose him.
I should visit UBC one day.
There you go.
I've never. Yeah. Hey,
Man,
I mean, if he gets like a game-sealing interception, I'll do it like the day after. I'll visit UBC the day after. Just to...
He had a big one last game. And I should do that in honor of him. Yeah.
and then I'll just quickly go over the special teams. Sean White, perfect again on field goals, 4 for 4.
Love that
And
guy.
he went 2 for 2 on extra points. So finally getting that under control.
Yeah, no extra point adventures today, which is
Which is a
huge.
relief.
And, yeah.
And then Flintoff had 4 punts, averaging 65.5 yards a punt, which is that's great. Can't complain
Yeah,
about that.
and he had a really good punt. Like he didn't. Well, he managed to punt to the 5, and it didn't roll in for a rouge this time. He had no rouge
Got the right bounce there. So
punch. So yeah, he's
it
got
didn't
that good.
get the point. And then finally, our boy Williams. His struggles continue. 4 returns for 61 yards on special teams. I don't know why they keep him, really. He's been
Williams.
subpar for several years. I guess maybe their system doesn't have any better, but like I just
think
don't know what to
Terry
say about
Williams-
this.
It feels like the best thing you can really do is just fish
Take the
for
ball
no
and
yards
not
penalties.
exactly, which
Yeah.
he drew one today. But like you all remember, this might be too old, but Tim Brown way back in the day used to be
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah,
amazing for the Lions, or on
Tim
Hamilton,
Brown, Ian Smart. Ian Smart's going even farther back,
or
right?
Hamilton had Chris Williams back in the day. Remember him?
Yeah, and yeah, he's not. Well, I mean, yeah, it's just the more he plays, it's like we're trying to be as positive as we can with him, but man, he's got to
Yeah.
like he's getting dangerously close to getting replaced with a speedier, maybe like a different receiver, right? Or his
I
receivers
mean,
can
it kind of has to be at this point, given like lack of production. But he didn't fumble the ball at all. He didn't, lose yardage. So I suppose we'll take that as a victory at this point.
No, well, no,
Small
he hasn't
victories.
been that detrimental, right? It's just you really kind of want to see a lot more out of him than what he's doing.
And,
right?
once every
Yep.
3 or 4 games, taking one to the house would be nice.
Yeah,
That'll never happen.
I really wanted to, like after Winnipeg scoring touchdowns, I really wanted there to be one moment where just, he would run it back for one, just to quiet the crowd, but no.
That would be nice.
So yeah, that's the Lions stats. So I'll go over the Winnipeg stats here. So I mean, Zach Calaros, he also played just as clean of the game as Vernon Adams. I thought both quarterbacks was actually they played pretty good games, right? Pretty
They
clean
did.
games. No real egregious faults. Like Zach Calaros didn't have any turnover woes as he did the past 2 games, right? So he went 23 for 30 for 247 yards, and that's strangely no touchdowns, right? Because I mean, we'll get into the other quarterback that had like probably the easiest hat trick ever.
Yeah, Kolaros has not had a throwing touchdown all year, by the way, in 3 games.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all been just run in. So yeah, yeah, he's averaged 8.2 yards a throw too. So I mean, yeah, but I mean, he had a good game, but it's just wasn't again kind of lost on key moments on constant 2 and out. So especially like late in the game where he was gonna be they were gonna be threatening to take the lead, and they just don't do it on an incompletion. Just you can't really. Yeah.
Oh, but Strahler though.
Yeah, well, yeah, I did say that Stravler, I put him in the running back stats, even though he's technically a quarterback, because yeah, he is the short yardage guy, but he did also play as quarterback properly for a few plays as well. I mean, at certain points in the first half, actually, Winnipeg was playing like two QB sets where just you had Stravler as a wideout, or you had Cloud as a wideout at one point, right? It was bizarre.
I love the rule
Right.
change that allows that. It allows the teams to be creative, but it's certainly stressful when it's used against their team, like it was in this case.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so yeah, I put Strebler in here as a running back, although he's technically quarterback. I mean, he had 10 carries for 24 yards, and yeah, the easiest hat trick ever, much like Zach Hyman and Edmonton, the Oilers,
Oh,
who can get easy goals like that. This is like easy touchdowns, right? For on the 1 yard line usually, right? So
Yep.
um
that 1-2 punch on first and second down was so annoying, and there was something like that in the West Final last year.
oh yeah, and speaking of the West Final, I mean, now, I mean, I put it in order. Well, Augustine, he wasn't on the team last year, I think, but yeah, he had. I mean, he was listed as the primary running back, but he only had 4 carries for 15 yards and 3.8 average on rushes, so he wasn't too much of a factor. And the man we were afraid of co coming back from injury, Brady Oliveira, and and there were a few points in this game where I said that's SOB, right? It's just. Of course it's him, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, thankfully he didn't do. He only had 9 carries for 64 yards, and he averaged 7.1 average on rushes. But yeah, I mean, for his standards, for how much he loves playing BC and how much he loves destroying the defense, that's not a that's not a very Brady Oliveira like game against us, right? That felt so good.
Doesn't feel like an Oliveira game, but like a 25-yard run.
But hey,
Yeah,
we're
he's
not
still.
complaining.
Yeah, he still, man, even coming back from injury, I mean, he had his moments, right? That made us age. Just um so yeah, so for the receivers, you got the usual suspects for the Bombers Grey Cup pedigree here. You got Dalton Schoen, who actually left the game near the end of the game. I think he left injured, that he was crying. Like I remember reading a comment on the post game thread on the CFL subreddit that someone was listening to the radio. And they said that yeah, Sean was crying. Right, so I think he might have a significant injury that might take him out for a significant amount of time. Right, but he's
Yikes.
still. Yeah, he still had a productive day too, but yeah, he had 5 catches for 7 targets and 54 yards and an average of 10.8 per catch. But yeah, I mean, he is like one of the big time receivers, right, on those short routes, and often can break one out here and there for a long bomb or from a long bomb, right? But yeah, it's um Dembski was also very frustrating
He
for us
scares
to
me.
watch against the defense. He had 8 catches on 10 targets for like he had the most productive out of the receivers at 94 yards and averaged 11.8 per catch. So yeah,
These averages are crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wolotowski was all yeah, like most of the receivers on the team, I mean, at one point or another in the game, they were like, oh my God, stop it, right? But yeah, Wolotowski had well, he was perfect. He went 7 catches on 7 targets for 72 yards and 10.3 average per catch. So um yeah, and then well, Wilson had 3 catches for 4 targets for 27 yards and an average of 9. So yeah, I mean, well, Zach Collaros kind of went the spread the ball over different receivers kind of strategy, right? But
There's still a
uh, uh,
really, really strong receiving core in Winnipeg, and
yeah,
they still scare me. We beat them today, but they still scare me.
Yeah.
yeah, no doubt. I'm gonna be again. I'm I'm scared about Oliveira's fantastic running ability. I mean, like that's nothing to take away from the receiving core of Winnipeg. They still had a lot of those moments where they were just striking fear into us.
Easy
Yeah,
to see why they've been so good.
Yeah.
these past couple seasons.
So yeah, so for the defense, for Winnipeg's defense, they didn't, BC's online didn't allow a sack. I mean, during the course of the game, I thought there was one moment where I thought Adams may have been sacked, but it must have counted as a tackle on the line of scrimmage. So, at this point, they had 0 sacks, but they also recovered a fumble from Fulgham on the first down. It was going to be a first down pass, but yeah, they managed to strip the ball and do a fumble recovery. So they had the offense had that one blemish there too, right? But well, the BC offense did, but yeah, I mean, Kyrie Wilson on the defense for the Bombers had 5 tackles, and the vast majority of pretty much everyone on the defense had 4 or less tackles. And Bridges got 4 tackles and was responsible for the fumble recovery from Fulgham. But yeah, I mean, there wasn't too many tackles, which never saw another low tackle event game for.
I mean, I thought our O-line played pretty well today.
They
To be
were
honest,
they were
so
they were fine. Yeah, they didn't
They were
improved.
the O-line was like much better consistently.
they didn't
Right,
really
just,
let him get hurt much. There wasn't anything too insane. I don't think they took any holding penalties in the game
I
either.
don't think they took any holding penalties or
I know we've been hard on them, and oh well, I'm still, the jury is still out on whether this is a permanent improvement for them, but credit where credit is due, they played a good game today.
They did.
Yeah, I hope this will be the start of like a trend of, well, we're going to be praising the online every game instead of being negative towards them, because it'd be a nice change considering all I've gone through, or all we've gone through the past many years we've been watching the team. But
There you go.
yeah, so yeah, the defense for the Bombers didn't have as much of a impact on us because it's Hollins and McKinnon just running them over often. So yeah, special teams. Santos, Caio Santos only had the 1 field goal, and he was also 3 for 3 on extra points. So both kickers played pretty perfectly. It's just Sean White was just had more opportunities and was able to do
Okay.
more with that, right? And
What a great kicker
Shahan.
we have.
Oh yeah,
No
he
way.
also got 20. He's also got 25 straight field goals made now. So yeah, that's great to see. Yeah, that's something I forgot to mention. But so yeah, the punting for Winnipeg, Shahan had 5 punts, which average 40 yards, so a little bit less than our own and Flintoff. But yeah, he didn't have any Rouge screw ups either. So I mean, like pretty perfect game for special teams for both sides, as best as you can put it. And then finally, their kick returner Smith had only 2 returns for 16 yards, right? So
Oh boy. Am I glad
yeah,
they
so
don't have Grant anymore?
Oh
He
no
would
kidding.
terrorize us. I said this in the last episode, but yeah.
yeah,
Well, we can be happy about that, thank goodness.
We'll be 3 games against Winnipeg. We don't have to face him.
Not gonna complain.
Yep.
no, it's gonna be far less now, but but yeah, and then I also kind of did a screenshot of a little bit more miscellaneous stats. I did say that well, I guess I'll start out with the penalties and time of possession, and then I'll get into a little bit more into image here. But BC had 5 penalties that negated for 32 yards. They cut down on the penalties a little bit, but there were still times when uh
How many misconducts today?
yeah, Tehema had 2 pretty egregiously bad misconduct penalties right in the game. I mean, that's like the one knock I'll have on him. He just yeah, that was 2 of the 5, and then Winnipeg only had 3 for 32 yards, and they had a holding in there too. But yeah, the penalties. There could have also been some missed holdings, right, just on Winnipeg too. But yeah, I mean the refereeing was
fine in
know,
this game.
it's Andre Prue, like it's one of my favorite referees. It's kind of an accent, but
His
yeah,
crew's always call good games, and they did today.
yeah, can't nothing too majorly controversial
No,
that's missed. But yeah, so
not
time of
unlike the hockey game.
no, we don't want CFL refereeing doing NHL games. No.
No, we don't.
So yeah, time of possession. So yeah, BC had 31 minutes and 15 seconds of time of possession, and Winnipeg had 28:45. So pretty. It didn't feel like the game was that even. I mean, it felt like Winnipeg had the ball a lot more, but I guess it was probably I probably had that feeling because well, BC when they were on their scoring drives, I mean, it was always deeper throws, right? And Winnipeg scoring drives, it's just dink and dunk, short passes, just
Very frustrating
constantly,
way of playing.
yeah,
Absolutely.
very
Especially when you
much
know it's
death by
coming.
1,000 cuts, yeah. Death by 1,000 cuts drive. That's why it felt like Winnipeg had the most time of possession, but
And
yeah,
screw them and their boring style of play. We had the more exciting catches. Let's be honest
we have
sure
the
here.
did.
more, yeah, we have the long bombs, we have the we got
We
the
got
highlight
Hollins.
wheel,
Oh,
yeah. Screw you, Stravlo, and your easy
yeah.
hat trick. That's what I said to the group chat. I'm like, oh, I hate you. Stop celebrating an easy hat trick. Right?
It was a fun game to follow along. Yeah, I mean,
It was.
we had our moments, and we deserved to
uh,
win.
yeah. But yeah, that's this. Well, I mean, that's the stats read. Unless any of you guys want to add anything new, because
We're down
oh
to
yeah,
getting
there's also the red zone opportunities. I mean, that's also a point of criticism from us that we're gonna get into the recap a little more, but
went
yeah,
0
the
for
red
4
zone.
and 0 for 4, which is, that's why we're gonna say, they should have blown this team out. But they still won, which is good, but should have won by more, which we'll get into in the recap.
Red zone, holy crap.
Yeah, let's go over this stressful game that made me sweat in a 20 and 29-degree heat, or just uh okay, so yeah, first quarter. I I put this is in the pregame and at halftime. I wasn't able to watch through halftime because I didn't want to be spoiled in the hockey game from looking at the ticker. Like I didn't trust my eyes to avoid looking at the ticker. So yeah, but yeah, they were honoring Andrew Harris, which is infuriatingly. I get it. He made a significant yeah, he made a significant mark in Bombers, being a Bombers running back. I mean, but it just felt like TSN was just erasing Harris's accomplishments as a Lion and an Argo. It's just,
I think we were talking about this before the show started. Like he was our guy at one point, and he won his first Grey Cup with us.
Should
When
have
was it?
gotten more respect
I
for
know, I
his
heard a little bit.
accomplishments with us.
yeah, and
Yeah.
even played his high school ball on Vancouver Island as well. I mean, like, he has connections with us to like pretty significant one. Like you can't just gloss over that and just completely go 100%. Andrew Harris great on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and no other team. Like just
Yeah, that's not okay.
Hey, but Winnipeg did
TS
start. They started
yeah,
losing Grey Cups when he left. He beat them in the Grey Cup once, so
yeah, I mean TSN.
twice.
If we're gonna honor Andrew Harris back, right? Like you better, you know. I mean, I imagine other fans are going to be annoyed by that too, but you
True.
better repay us, right? Because it was annoying just hearing so much about and Andrew's accomplishments as a bomber when he had plenty of other success with us and Toronto too, right? To an extent, right? Just I mean, it's
Yeah.
funny. Like normally I wouldn't go to bat to Toronto, but in this case, I imagine just
Kind of
the
have
Argos fan.
to.
Yeah.
Either
Yeah,
way,
that was
that's okay.
frustrating. Anyways, yeah. So BC was receiving the kickoff, and I noticed that I also put in I noticed that well, Winnipeg had Indigenous designed logo on their helmets, but BC um they were still doing the typeset logo, just the letters BC, and yet in the graphic it showed the Lions logo that's designed by Indigenous people too. I thought that was like, probably get that Lionhead logo back on the helmet at some point, like, because I kind of miss it. Right?
I love that logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I either have a normal logo or the Indigenous Sun logo. I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
miss the Lionhead on, but anyways,
I've been
yeah. So
considering buying a jersey, and I really don't know if it's worth my $230, even though I love this team. But for now, I'll continue wearing my Lions Indigenous logo shirt because it's a great logo.
It sure is.
yeah, if I was gonna make a purchase, I mean, I'd probably get one of those too, right? But
Yeah.
all I have is just the one jersey, but it's it's fine.
Yeah, nothing
Um,
wrong with that.
yeah.
Game notes.
So Williams starts out the kickoff. I mean, he doesn't do too much running. Gets held at the 25. And then Fulgham. I mean, Fulgham. The one bright spot here in the first quarter, you get the first down catch on a curl route, but curl routes are usually a pretty conservative play call when you're trying to
Yeah.
just do chunk plays instead of big ones, like go for broke there. But yeah, it was
Decent first
he
drive by
had a
the
good.
O-line.
Yeah, and then immediately after that, that boring play curl on first down, and Hollins catches a 71 yard long touchdown and a deep bomb
That was beautiful.
instantly from 2nd and 9, and it was wide open for that one.
Beautiful.
away.
Total breakdown on coverage by the Bombers, but fabulous way to start the game, taking a shot deep, and it pays off early.
Yeah, Adams was like I was saying, like, after that touchdown, I mean, I thought, oh, he's feeling it right now. It's just yeah, that was insane. That was that I was admittedly feeling like a little bit tired before the game started. Like, I was like, oh no, I don't want to. I need to stay awake for the recording, and just. But yeah, that got my eyes popping open. Oh yes. So yeah, it's yeah, the extra point's good, and that's a early 7-0 lead that quiets the Bombers fans pretty quick. And it quieted them even further when, on the ensuing drive for Winnipeg, they got a 2nd-and-out, or no, 2-and-out for their offense on, a lot of tackle for a loss. And then on 2nd down, there was a sack by Robertson, the one sack. That was a very impactful one, right? Just at first. And then the woes continue for Winnipeg on a bad punt and a no yards penalty, like a bad
It was a
punt.
terrible punt, and the punt, that's one of the punts that bounces towards their cover team, so they get kind of screwed on the no yards. Not really their fault, but it is the rule, and I take the penalty, not going to complain.
Exactly.
But then I'll just add, this drive really annoyed me because this is the first of, I think, 2 times in the game the Lions had a 3rd and 4 inside the 10. And I think in this case, early in the game, up 7-0, you got to go for it and try and get the touchdown. If you turn the ball over, they get it inside their own 10, and you're in good field position. Just go for it at that stage in the game. If you get it, you're up 14-0 and you're cruising. So I didn't agree with the decision not to go for it there. But they get the field goal.
Yeah, they got the field
And go
goal,
up
and
10-0.
then Winnipeg would start on their 40. But yeah, I was also in agreement that they probably should have gone for it on third down, just to pin, if it doesn't work, just to pin Winnipeg and deep in their own zone. But yeah, we'll take 10-0 anyways. But just a minor, just a
I'll
little.
go back to your point with saying that we could have put the nail in the coffin a bit earlier in the game. It could have been a lot easier at halftime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Unfolded the way it
mean,
did.
yeah. So yeah, we'll get into that too. Just I call it a mini collapse. Another bad mini collapse. But anyways, so yeah. Um. So yeah, after that field goal, and then Strevler was playing. I mean, even though he had those three touchdowns, he still had his moments where he had third and short, just non-touchdown related third and short conversions. Got a bunch of those, right, and then back-to-back long 8-yard runs and short yardage first downs, and then yeah, and then I put a note here that Colaros then ended up being like a wideout on a Strebler one, like one of Strebler's short yardage ones. Um, and Colaros even passed to Strebler, and he dropped it, right, like it was wide open. and he dropped the ball. I'm like, yeah, that would quarterback to quarterback pass. That would have been like the ultimate CFL kind of pass, right? As much as a
Yeah.
flea flicker, yeah. Thankfully he dropped that, but yeah, and then later BC was called an offside for a bit, and yeah, and then Bombers eventually get in the red zone, and then Schoen makes the crazy catch. Like, well, man, Kalaros was falling, right? I mean, the defensive line came after him, and then Kalaros was falling, was able to get the pass away, and then Schoen made like an amazing catch.
Ah,
And
That was so great.
so frustrating.
and I'm going to debut coining this term, typical Winnipeg BS. It's just TWBS. A TWBS moment where, you know, we've seen this happen to us so many times that just, oh, it's so typical for the Bombers.
It
Yeah,
is.
What can
they've
you
had
do?
a few of those. They've had a few TWBS moments, but uh yeah, I went into very colorful language on those moments, but I'm keeping it abbreviated here. So
And then Strevler happened.
Yeah,
yep, first of the three, so that was a 3rd-and-1 goal line touchdown, makes it 10-7, just to end the first quarter. Uh, but yeah, ending the first quarter. I mean, you know, we were feeling good for BC for
10-7.
for those first two drives. I mean, it could have been 14-0, but then yeah, about
10-7
long
up on
drive.
Winnipeg after one quarter. I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to complain about that. So, like, all things considered, it was pretty good.
Especially after what we've been through against Winnipeg. So
Hmm.
Yeah, and within this game too. But so yeah, so we go into the second quarter, and I put Winnipeg bias on. It feels like Winnipeg bias on TSN, even though I know that they will always say that, you know, we're trying to be as objective as possible. We're not favoring your team one another, but it just feels like the Winnipeg bias got turned up a little bit here. It felt palpable when talking about the touchdown drive when Glenn Suter put it as like important for the psyche of the team. Uh,
It really did.
and like, yeah, it felt like they were trying to will Winnipeg just to do more on. Yeah, man, that might be my bias showing that. Well, you know, I feel like the announcers are not rooting for, or I feel like the announcers are like too heavy on the Winnipeg praise. So I just, um, but yeah. So after that touchdown for Winnipeg, then Williams runs it back to on the kickoff to the 22. Now, typical Williams run.
And then the
And this
Lions
is
had another good drive on that. They got down to about the Winnipeg 12, and then another short field goal where I would have liked to see them go for it again. They made it 13-7. I would have loved to see them go for making it 17-7. Another
yeah,
case where Rick
but
Campbell
with it,
wasn't
I
that
mean,
aggressive.
yeah, within that drive though, there was some pretty well, there was one like bad moment where, you know, there were incompletions. I mean, Barry Hill had an incompletion where Adams put too much air in the throw, and that could have been a touchdown, right? Or I mean, yeah, Hollins had a great first down conversion on 2nd and long, and then stand back there, a first down run for 12, and yeah, and then my favorite catch of the drive was Andrew Pearson. I think he was a tight end, right? I didn't put him in the stats, but like he's a big guy, right? Like he looked almost like an old lineman.
the
I
big
saw
guy,
put
yeah.
Andrew Pearson past the tight end first down. What just gibberish? Just yeah, that was an amusing kind of first down pass to watch, but yeah, unfortunately,
Didn't go
didn't
for
do
it.
anything with it. Yeah, didn't do anything with that funny moment after that funny moment. It was here where Adams looked a little bit injured, like he was limping off the field, and I got worried. But again, much like the Toronto game, much like the Calgary game, I mean, he did have his like some injuries, right? But you know, still played great while being banged up, right? And it's crazy, right?
Weird.
Uh, he's tough as nails, man. He's just uh they ended up kicking a field goal to make it 13-7. Really wish it could have been more than that, but yeah. And then on Winnipeg's ensuing drive, there was a tackle. Well, yeah, Robertson once again had a good tackle. He tackled for a lot on Dembski, and then Wolotarski only managed to catch for 5 for the fourth another 2 and out. So yeah, BC got the ball back from that. Then Adams ran for a first on second and short, and unfortunately, that was another good looking drive that was thwarted by a batted ball. There were 3 batted balls in this game, and 2 of them were from Winnipeg's defense, and one of them was from us. But yeah, you don't really see that every day. Yeah, so yeah, that drive was thwarted by a batted ball, and then Flintoff had a great punt to force Winnipeg deep in their own zone on the 10 or around the 10-yard line. And yeah, and then Winnipeg had another 2 and out there. And then and then another bad punt made the ball roll to the 51. And I mean, like, are you afraid of Williams on that punt, Shahan, or what?
Yeah,
Whenever you
exactly.
guys said that, it was so funny in the moment because we're like, oh, no one's afraid of Williams.
Well,
No.
clearly somebody was.
Yeah, and then for BC's ensuing drive, and then there was, well, I mean, it said in the stats that Aberhart wasn't targeted or wasn't, but I feel like he was targeted on this attempt, but I guess it didn't count because it didn't count as a target because that was another batted down pass, right? So you can never really tell, but I really think they should have counted that as a target for him, but then it would have ruined his average, right? So
Oh, we don't want that. Yeah.
no. Yeah, and then Fulgham, I mean, he caught the ball. I mean, he ran past the sticks for the first down, but then he fumbled it after being stripped of it, right? Right when we thought, like, oh, this is looking good again, and then that was the moment where the momentum switched for the Bombers, and we were dreading that moment happening, right? Like, I didn't want to say it, but when that fumble happened, and then yeah, here we go again, and then Winnipeg on that drive after the fumble recovery, they're killing us with the high percentage passes, dink and dunk just constantly. Dembski had a good catch for 20 yards, and near the end of the quarter, this is where craziness happens here too, right?
This is when
There's some
the whole clock debacle, which
the
I'll get
clock
into.
management debacle, yes.
So Winnipeg
so
had, how much did they have? 12 seconds, 11 seconds, and they were at about the
yeah, there was a flag. Yeah, after the 12-second play that
they're at about the 10-yard line, had 12 seconds to run a play, which they didn't. They chose to hustle and run the play without using the timeout, which if I'm a Winnipeg fan, I would have loved to see them use that timeout to give themselves a chance to kick a field goal. But then they didn't. They had about 5 seconds left. Then there was a penalty, which stops the clock and gives them time to run a play. But what they did, they had first and goal at the 6. And with me personally, I would have just gone for the field goal with 5 seconds. You know, that's not really enough time to run a decent play. Just don't risk losing all your time. But what happened was they ran a play and the pass to the end zone went incomplete with what looked like 1 second on the clock. But I immediately thought that play sure as heck felt like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
as did I.
And so did the Lions. And then they
One of
went.
you was like, oh, a passing play usually takes at least 7 seconds. So now I looked at it and it had to have taken 5 seconds at least. And it was 5 seconds on the clock. So what did they do?
They reviewed.
Yeah, they
reviewed it. They reviewed the play and they determined that the clock operator, I guess it's a Winnipeg clock operator. No, they're employed by the home team. Started the clock a second late after the ball was snapped, which meant that the play ran off the 5 seconds. That there was actually no time left. So the Lions got pretty lucky there because Winnipeg mismanaged the clock, and because
they got
that play
greedy.
ran 5 seconds off. The Lions, the defense was on their heels on that drive, but because Mike O'Shea and the Bombers screwed up the clock management really badly, the Lions got off scot-free. If I was a Bombers fan, I would be livid at how that ended. But because I'm not, I'm happy.
Now, like in retrospect, I mean, now that moment where they could have really just taken the points, or if they're gonna go for it anyways, I mean, they could have like ran the ball, maybe have a timeout of 1 second left, and then do a field goal. But no, they got like way too greedy. Like they threw the ball that took all the time off the clock. It was revealed to be, all the time off the clock, right? I mean, they could have done like multiple different ways to save time and take points, and if they're gonna go for a touchdown, do a running play. Don't pass it. Just
Exactly. There's
Yep.
so many different things that they could have done. But
yeah, everything went our way just on their bad clock management and terrible
and in the
well,
end that
yeah.
ended up being could have been decisive because they blew 3 points there. They lost the game by 2 points.
They lost the game, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, but this was like, I mean, the fumble was the key moment for Winnipeg, but yeah, this moment ended up being key for us in terms of the score differential at the end, right? But
They also had the
yeah,
ball to begin the second half.
Yeah,
yeah,
so which we can get into now.
yeah. After halftime, which I didn't watch because I didn't want to be spoiled for the hockey game. I didn't. So yeah, third quarter, yeah, Winnipeg gets the ball back to start here, and then on the first play of their drive, our defense batted their ball down. So I said, take your own medicine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was great. That felt awesome. Yeah, and then there was and then Caleros tried a deep shot to I can't remember the receiver he threw to, but Green defended the deep shot pretty well. I mean, defense wasn't really wasn't really much. Well, in terms of actual statistics, like didn't get too much, but yeah, Green had a good defensive play on the deep shot here. Then BC gets the ball back, and then Williams takes the punt back to the 40. And it was here that the TSN commentary, I mean, they were saying that because I didn't watch the halftime, apparently the halftime was saying that it was weird that the BC offense wasn't scoring more points in that first half than they should, and so yeah, they were in agreement with us apparently.
Yeah, a few missed opportunities.
Yeah, and on BC's first drive here, Hollins had a deep shot to incomplete, and yeah, and because yeah, and keeping it on Glenn Suter, he did have like as a James Bond fan, and this is my moment compared to Jacob's like or no JS with like last episode. This is my moment, like he said, Bonds, Toel Bonds, and I'm like, oh man, just yeah, he had a good defense on that too. So yeah, but I mean, even after that, McKinnis still had a second and long first down catch on a slant, and then Hollins had another long 29-yard touchdown to make it 20-7. But that was, we were feeling good about that, but like that Toronto game, and we also had like a 20 points at a point, right? And then it just feels like
pretty quickly.
Yeah, it evaporated quickly, like it did that game. I mean, we can't enjoy a 20 points at any point, just
Nope.
any point in the game, right? Just feels, yeah. So so the XP was good on that one, and then on Winnipeg's ensuing drive, there was a first down catch for Dembski, and then he kind of got hit in the chest pretty bad. He got injured briefly, but he came back into the game. Schoen had another first down catch, and then Dembski's back, gets another first down catch, and then there was a procedure call on Winnipeg's O line that brings them back 5. But I mean, it
Didn't matter.
it didn't matter because there was terrible tackling by. I mean, the defense played good, well enough to win, but in this instance, Perryman had some terrible tackling that was reminiscent of the Minneapolis Miracle on Wolotarski, and then he gets brought down at the 1, and then Strebler punches it in for his second touchdown.
Wolotarski spun around the tackle just like Diggs did. Like, it was very easy for him, and he was hyped at that. Frustrated me.
Makes it
yeah.
14.
Yeah, and it was at that point in the game when then we're dreading the upcoming collapse once again. Like, we're we're not allowed to enjoy a 20 points at any point. But yeah. So yeah, for BC's ensuing drive, Holland gets the first down. Adams gets Adams gets sacked barely, but it didn't end up counting as a sack, so it was just a tackle. So yeah, so
a quick 2 and out for us.
Yeah, quick 2 and out for us, and then an illegal block penalty on the punt pushes Winnipeg back, and
which that helped, but in the end, the third quarter ended. Winnipeg was in BC territory, and then pretty quickly they got into the end zone. Streveler again from short yardage had an amazing game.
Went through the third quarter and into the fourth quarter. That was when it ended with Streveler with a hat-trick touchdown. It was just another death by 1,000 cuts kind of drive with just the slow dread of and here they are. They have the lead again. Oh no, they have the lead now. Another bad mini collapse, and then I put now the Bombers bias for here seems to be getting especially grating.
But then it really went back and forth at that point, I guess. We can probably skim through a little bit of this. I think what I really wanted to get into was what happened towards the end. We can do that because it was back and forth field goals, basically.
Back and forth field goals, yeah, and then
Fulham went up 23-21, and Winnipeg went up 24-22. Then BC was up 26-24 after a really, really nice drive.
Yep.
But what I think kind of the big point was how the game ended. So Winnipeg got the ball back because after BC went up 26-24 with about 2.5 to go, because it's inside the last 3 minutes of the game, Winnipeg couldn't take the ball at their 40. There has to be a kickoff. And the reason that rule is in place is so that if you can kick a field goal and try an onside kick to come back. But in this case, Winnipeg returned the ball to about their 38, and then they immediately went 2 and out.
Awesome.
The defense couldn't have done better in that situation.
Yeah, that
was a blessing because Winnipeg never does a 2 and out in that situation. It was so scary thinking about last year's not West final, but the last game West Winnipeg, which felt like a West final. So
the last Winnipeg BC game that was on the road for them, and we had a big lead, and then we choked it all away, and then we're like, well, that's it. We're never beating them. And
speaking of that, we'll roll on to the next play. Well, Hollins made a huge catch on 2nd and 10, and he kneeled at the 25-yard line. And this was obviously giving my dad flashbacks because he was so happy when he took the knee. Remember last year he was screaming for Rhymes to take the knee, and he didn't take the knee, and then went into overtime. But Hollins took the knee. That was crucial.
That was brilliant because he stays in bounds and keeps the clock moving. I didn't really like throwing in that situation to begin with because if the throw was picked off or incomplete, that's bad. But it worked out.
Well, it was 2nd and long anyways, right? I mean, you had to throw it, but Hollins threw his paycheck with that big catch on first down, and then kneeling it around the 25, and then Barry Hill had a pretty good. Then Barry Hill had his clutch catch moment
on the next 2nd and 10 play to get them the first down with 1:05 to go, and
then there was a funny moment, where Barry Hill jumped over the electronic ad, and he's high-fived a Bombers fan, and
that was funny.
Kind of like the second. It's kind of like the last moment where the Oilers fan was cheering for the Panthers goal, where it was just the clueless Bombers fan going I'm gonna high five. Oh wait, no, it's the Lions player. No.
But either way, he gets the first down, and then on the next play, because when he went out of bounds, so the Lions still needed one more first down to officially steal the game. Stanwyck ran for first down, looked like he was going to get a touchdown, but fortunately, he was pushed down short at the 1. If he goes in for the touchdown, the Lions, they were up 2, they would have gone up 8, would have had the kicks the extra point to go up 9, and Winnipeg's more likely to win the game with the ball down 9 than they are without the ball but down 2.
No, I don't think. Actually, no. Well,
because if we can take the knee and kill the game, and you're up 1, you've won the game. But if they have the ball with 45 seconds and down 2 scores, they still have a chance. So I was happy to see him tackled at the 1.
Yeah, I was gonna
intentional
say they were gonna risk
intentional. It was really good.
yeah, BC would have gotten that touchdown to go up 8, and they would have like risked missing the extra point, and it would have kept it at 8. And then Winnipeg would have had like one chance to
And
like
even if
try
Winnipeg's
and
down
tie the
9,
game,
even
right?
if they're
Yeah,
down 9, stranger things have happened. You can if you're down 9, you can get the touchdown, go for 2, get it. You're down 8, and then on the kickoff, kick it through the end zone, you get another point. There's your 9.
there's your not. Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
seen that,
So
but it's theoretically possible. So in any event, he got tackled, Lions took a knee, and that was the game. 26-24
yeah.
win.
At 4
Four
course
course
meal, I
meal.
put it in bold
Four
at the end.
4-course meal, 4-course meal,
Win.
4-course meal, 4-course meal. I said
Four-course
it 4
meal.
times.
Yeah,
4-course win.
There we
4-course
go.
win. Yeah. So yeah, that was that was again much like the the Calgary game. I mean, it was stressful at points, but I didn't think that Calgary would have had it in them. But in this game, I mean, yeah, this was back and forth. I mean, again, it's just a similar stat line of the Toronto game, except we're coming out, coming out to win. Yeah, this was important for us, right? And because just to keep Winnipeg down and down even more. So yeah, so now we're just gonna
Breeze through the rest of the week here. We got
yeah,
2 more
yeah,
games left this weekend.
2 more games left this weekend, and yeah, and then we'll talk about the next game versus Edmonton, which is Thursday. So we'll be back in like less than a week,
Yep.
right? So it's like
Love it.
6 days, short week for us and for the team. But yeah, so tomorrow will be Edmonton at Toronto, and then Edmonton's gonna be looking for their first win to also try and avoid going 0-3 and joining the Bombers.
They got one less day of rest than us.
Yeah, we're not going to be, as well. I mean, it might come back to bite us if I say it now, but I'm not as stressed about rooting for an East team to beat the West team, because yeah,
East is good.
I mean, yeah, and even if Edmonton beats Toronto, I'd be nice too, because don't like Toronto ever. I just yeah, so yeah, McLeod, Bethel, Thompson. I imagine he's still probably going to be starting for the Elks here. Why?
Oh, what are they doing?
What are you doing, Chris Jones? Like, why? Like, if you're not going to use Trey Ford, like, why have him at all? Right? Just
Exactly.
his coaching just baffles us, and I'm glad we're like past. It's someone else suffering a bad coach, and it's not us anymore, right? Like, we went through a coaching curve though after Bono retired, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, then the game after, so that'll be the Sunday game. That'll be Hamilton at Saskatchewan. So yeah, Hamilton will try and get revenge for collapsing against Saskatchewan. And I was actually watching the Hamilton Saskatchewan game last week at White Spot, right? So
I love White Spot.
I saw the whole collapse happen while I was eating there, and it was just a series of just unfortunate events in the fourth quarter for Hamilton that allowed Saskatchewan to like kick the field goal to win it, like the interception after
That was a
scoring.
brutal meltdown.
We don't want to let Saskatchewan go 3-0. We don't want
Nope.
them to let that happen.
No, we don't.
Yeah, for this game, we're definitely hoping that Hamilton will find like a gear and get the revenge game right here. But yeah, so yeah, that'll be that, and of course, and then for the game, and then for next week's game against the Elks for us, and then we'll be hosting them, so we'll be flying back home, pretty happy
I'll be
being
there.
2-1. Yeah, so yeah, it's gonna be another game where it's just gonna be me and JS here just at home.
Definitely.
I'll pitch in my
Definitely,
thoughts
for
from in the
sure.
stadium.
It'll definitely be the most exciting sporting event in Edmonton this week. There's nothing else going on.
Because there won't be a parade going on.
Yeah,
Fingers
yeah,
crossed.
fingers crossed. Yeah, hopefully, by the time the game comes around, it's going to be like depressed Edmonton fans just thinking, damn, should have
Elks
won
are like
game
their
7,
beer.
right?
Because Elks is all suffering just like a beer. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see what
yes.
happens.
We'll see what happens in well, both Game 7 for Stanley Cup final, and then of course, again, we'll see if any Elks fans left that are being tortured watching this team play, right? Like, they're gonna go like,
I don't
okay, yeah, the Oilers, making it a series in the Stanley Cup final tonight, but then I gotta go back to watching this
I don't have a lot to
bad
say
team.
about the Elks game. I mean, obviously I'm going to that game. So my own preview for that game, I think we're gonna win.
Yeah.
We beat them 3
Mhm.
times last year. 2 times they didn't score a point. I think we played well against them in preseason. Not like that matters at all, but I think we're gonna win that game.
I
Yeah,
feel good about it.
it's gonna be it's gonna be one of those games where I'm not gonna, I mean, knock on wood, but I mean, I do think that, I mean, actually we were favored pretty heavily in the CFL writers for the Winnipeg game, right?
Well, they
And
love
we
So I
us.
got in
mean,
the end we got the job done.
yeah, and the fans were on our side too. So I imagine it's going to be probably clean sweep for BC, and then maybe like 80-90% of fans will vote for us over Edmonton. But
Yep.
yeah, we'll just see what happens on 6 days from now. So yeah, that's
I think that
gonna be it for us for
I'll just
today.
run through our socials as usual.
Yep.
You can contact us via email at sectiontwofourteen@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at section214pod. You can go to us on YouTube at section214 BC Lions podcast. Thank you, Hubert, for your kind words after the previous episode. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we hope to see you again. Like, show us, and anyone else, to show their thoughts on the game, and just
We're getting better every episode.
tell us how wrong we are for thinking that we can easily beat Edmonton, or just and
We have a team
yeah,
we're relying on here.
I think that's it. I think that's about it for today's episode.
so yeah, we're very happy with this win. I mean, like, we got to go through this another 2 more times with Winnipeg, but I am feeling a lot more confident about our chances of possibly, beating them at least one more time, right, at home for sure.
And I
'Cause
guess we'll see what happens.
yeah, but again, that'll be it for us today. So yeah, we'll see you on Thursday.
See you. Bye, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, bye bye.